Now, long before a lot of you were born out there, I was stupid and dumb enough to listen to all those fools out there who consider themselves expert in the world of exercise and fitness. And when I started to wise up and realize exactly what I was doing to my body, it was too late. I smashed up my skeleton, damaged my joints, tendons, ligaments, had operations after operations, and now I find myself in my 60th year trying to bestow the knowledge that I've learned over all these years back, especially to you younger guys out there. Now, if you're a father, if you've got children, you want to have the very, very best for them, don't you? You want to make sure that they're not hurt. Well, I'm putting it to all of us that a lot of these so-called experts, and I'm talking about from the personal trainer level all the way up to consultant level, haven't got your best interests to heart. They do not care whether you get damaged, broken, smashed up, doesn't matter. It's even worse if you want to become an athlete or, you're a weekend warrior. From the age of even as young as 3, 4, 5, young women and men, young men and boys are put out onto fields, into dojos, into rings, into training systems, which are not regulated. Okay, these things are not regulated properly. And people are getting hurt and damaged by the wrong information. It's as plain as the smile on your face. It really is. If anyone can't understand that, then I don't know what to say to you. I've had 50 years of experience, okay, in exercise. That's 50 years exercising myself. I've coached teams, I've coached people, I've repaired people for 20 years. I've studied strength and conditioning, anatomy, physiology, um, rehabilitation protocols with some of the very best people on this planet. And I tell you what, they get it wrong. They get it wrong as well. Now, why would you believe that little old me should be telling you anything about the exercise of people who are far bigger, stronger, more muscular than me? Well, you don't have to believe me, okay? I'm just an ordinary guy, okay? And I'm just trying to give you the benefit of my experience and my knowledge that I've learned both um, in academia as well as through my own studying. In other words, that's called autodidactic, which means to learn yourself. When you go through a period of learning, so when you first start on your exercise, uh, what could we call it? Your exercise journey through life. You are advised by other people because you're young, so you are told, get out there, do this, do this, do this. This is the best thing, and you look up to those people, right? You look up to what they're saying to you, and you have so much energy in your heart and in your body that you want to get out there and really push the boundaries, and you want to not only satisfy yourself but to satisfy other people so that they look at you and go, wow, he's a really good football player, he's amazing, or you're a rugby player, or it's tennis, or it's Olympic lifting, whatever your sport. But I know I taught martial arts for a very long time, okay? And I left a part of my soul on those dojo mats. Blood, sweat, tears for years and years and years. Okay. The same in all the gyms. And I know that when people go into these places, it's unregulated. And even the coaches and instructors, sorry, are not educated enough. And I don't mean to tear these people down. I don't, because they're only doing what they think is the best thing. But then, like with myself, the older you get, the more you keep studying, the more you realize the futility of some of the exercise protocols that are given to us from a very young age. It's damaging people, okay? Some irreversibly in many, many cases, and it's not allowing people to get the very best out of their own physicality with very poor efficiency, effectiveness. And the biggest caveat that I want to say to you of all, right, of all the things that I recommend, safety, okay, safety is the number one prerequisite to anybody getting fitter, stronger, losing weight. Safety. Many of the gym based programs I see damage people as much as they help people. Now, you can come back at me with all the training programs you do, as hard as you train. I don't know. I don't know you, so it's pointless you saying it all to me, because the evidence suggests that people that train with high volumes very often, and I'm talking about doing 3 or 4 weight training sessions a week, maybe you're playing rugby on top of that, or going karate, or doing MMA, and you're training 3 or 4 times a week doing that, you are going to run into some very serious issues with your body at some point. Okay. I did a lot of collision based or contact based sports, and I got damaged from them, but not kind of straight away, if you see what I mean. These things build up in micro trauma in your nervous system, in your joints over many years. The more you do it, the more damaged you get. And it's very true when someone says, your mum says to you, you don't want to be doing that stuff, it's going to really mess you up later in life. Well, guys, it is. And one of the big problems is most of you out there, especially you younger guys, people under the age of 25, you're not going to listen to me. Okay. It's like the alcoholic that's been through rehabilitation and sees the futility of what he was doing and no longer goes anywhere near it, trying to explain it to a room full of people that like to go out drinking and partying. It's very difficult to change people's minds, because we're all up against a social media construct. An animal that's so big and so vast just wipes the floor with anything that us ordinary guys are just trying to say. And I'm trying to say it as, you know, as a father, as a grandfather. I'm trying to instill back into you, look, there are much safer ways to get to where you want to be without ruining your freaking body. And listen, people are taking advice from these bigwig social media fitness gurus. You're giving them your time and your money, and they're taking illegal drugs to get to where they want to be. Let that sink in. You're actually giving time to people who are taking illegal drugs and giving you bullshit training programs that you think are going to be able to help you, which actually I'm saying are going to damage you probably more than help you. And yet you're putting these people on a pedestal, and they're driving around in their flash cars. They're telling you they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what they want. They wear all the flash clothes and blah, blah, blah. When they're fake, they're completely fake. And our youngsters are believing these people. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but a strong, healthy male doesn't look like he's got two footballs for shoulders. It doesn't happen, guys, right? If you want to see what a strong, healthy male should look like, you probably got to go back pre-1950s and start looking in some of the old school um, weightlifting exercise books that were around way back in the day, for you to realize what you can do with a natural body. And listen, if you're taking, I had a guy the other day who came to do some work for me, and his brother, who is in his early 20s, just takes testosterone and doesn't even go training. Like, do you realize what that's doing to your body? Do you realize what that's doing to you as a man? Do you realize that you're just fake? You're a fake person. I mean, if you admit that, like bodybuilders that admit that they are on tons of illegal hormones, I ain't got a problem with that. I don't care. I don't care what people do. It's up to you. But we are losing grip on reality, and we're losing grip on helping our kids, our children, sorry, avoid the surgeon's knife and avoid a lot of other complications along the way. I've worked with so many potential Premiership football players under the age of 17 who got so damaged through their training camps that their career was over by the time they were 17 and they never got signed up, or they just got signed up but got injured and fell by the wayside. Now, you could call it survival of the fittest, but I'm saying that there would be a lot more to pick from if they weren't all getting so damaged. And this is true of every sport. I see it with young rugby players as well. They get brutalised. They really do. They get smashed up, and their coaches want them to do more and more and more. And if you fall by the wayside, that's it. You know, you fall by the wayside. And tell me I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments that I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you've got a son or a daughter that's injured through the amount of training that they're doing, think about it. Question your coach. I'll tell you what, actually, if you questioned every single coach, armed with the knowledge that I know, okay, if you questioned every single coach with the knowledge that I know and asked them the right questions, I guarantee you, most of them would not be able to answer the question in the right way because they're very ignorant. And I don't mean they're ignorant like ignorant people. I mean, they just don't understand because they haven't got that level of knowledge. I don't want people to be like me. I don't want people to grow up and put so much pressure on your body that you irreversibly damage it. Yeah, I'm dealing with stuff. I'm dealing with stuff for me that I have to cope with every day due to hard physical exercise and work. If you are working in a manual labour job every single day, so let's say you're a plasterer or you're a bricklayer or you work in Tesco's filling up the shelves, stacking them all day, every day. Maybe you're a tree surgeon or a chippy or an electrician. You've got a manual job every day where you're lifting and carrying things and moving things about. The last thing you need to be doing is going into the gym 3 or more times a week, pumping out tons of repetitions and sets of weights. You're just adding fuel to the fire. Your body's never going to repair. And while you're young and you've got the enzymes and the hormones to keep you going, let alone with the tons of Red Bull that these youngsters push down their necks every day just to give them enough energy to be able to do anything, that stuff is a nightmare in its own right, to be honest with you. You might as well smoke, really. Not that that's any good either, obviously, but what I'm saying is it's so bad for you, but it gets touted as a good thing because it's paraded by all the Formula One athletes and things like that. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And we all get hoodwinked, right? I was hoodwinked for freaking years till I wised up. I mean, it literally took me till I was in my 50s to realise what the hell I was doing to myself. I would do exactly the same thing. So say in my rugby playing days, I'd be lifting weights 3 times a week. I'd be going rugby training once in a week and playing a game at the weekend. I played American football. I played American for 10 years when it first came out in this country. And let me tell you, there was a lot of crazy people playing it back then. This is back in the 80s and early 90s sort of time. And again, I would weight train 3 times a week. I would go out jogging, doing calisthenics style workouts, and I would be doing my American football. one training session per week, one game per week, and probably one classroom day per week as well. The same when I was doing martial arts. I did martial arts for a very long time, became an instructor. Again, I'll be doing my weights and I'll be doing my mat time. And mat time for me back then was 4 or 5 times per week. Yeah, 4 or 5 times per week. And they were 3 hour sessions each time. And I sometimes I used to think to myself, why am I so fit and strong? Why am I breaking down? Why am I falling apart at certain periods? Why am I not getting stronger? Why am I not able to lift more weight? Why are my weights not progressing up? I've done it for the last 6 weeks. It's gone up a few kilos every week, and now I've hit a plateau and it's stopped. It's because my body ain't recovering properly. Yeah, and listen, we all hit a genetic threshold. Okay, if you're a natural person, you hit your genetic threshold, and getting past that, is extremely difficult without taking an illegal substance. And that's why bodybuilders and that they go to that route to enhance their system massively. And the women have got on the bandwagon of this, and they're just it's crazy. It's all over the place, right? There are fake people walking around everywhere telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing according to the way that they train. Now, let's be really honest here for a second. Just because someone says to you, well, I did it and I got a good result, it does not mean that that's going to be the same for you. And it doesn't mean that that person wouldn't have got exactly the same result doing something completely different. So you really have to think about what people are saying and how they're saying it. So if you've managed to stay with my ramblings, and I don't want this to sound, I know it sounds like I'm whinging, but I'm not. Trying to give you the benefit of thinking about things in a much better way. So here's the fix. Here's the fix, right? So firstly, do whatever you enjoy. Okay, I don't care. Nobody else cares. Do whatever you enjoy. But if you understand what I understand and how I understand it, which is proven in all the science that we know at the moment, and you go against that, then you've only got yourself to blame. But if you are armed with better knowledge, then you may make a better informed decision and look after yourself a bit better. Okay. Next, I'm a big believer of all the training I've ever done, low sets, relatively low repetitions. I'm not talking about ones, twos, threes, fours. I'm talking about, 6 to 15 repetitions, one set all out. Now, this is a style of training called high intensity training. And all that means is you put everything into your one set. You're not doing 3, 4, 5 sets. So you're cutting down vastly the amount of volume that you're putting onto your body, onto your joints, tendons, ligaments, muscles, because that is where the damage comes. Also, to be powerful, you don't need to move weights fast to be powerful. Okay. Yes, it can help. It can, and it can work, but it doesn't work any better than moving a weight slowly and methodically to failure. Okay. The biggest risk to injury is moving weights really fast and heavy because it's ballistic. It damages you more than anything else. And you'll have one guy who can cope with that for years, and you'll have one guy who will break down after months. I don't know what the genetic switch is. I don't think anybody does, but some people can withstand things better than other people. Okay, that's a given. If you are trying to improve a sport and you're trying to improve your power, okay, you do not need to lift things powerfully like clean and jerks. Okay, there are plenty of studies. Just research it for yourself. Don't rely on me to tell you everything. Okay, I'm not going to stand here and say this is what the science says to us. If I'm lying, I'm not lying. Okay, it's all there. It's all there for you to go and see yourself. You can punch it into Google or go to ChatGPT and ask it these questions, and you will find that no, you don't need to move fast heavy weights to be powerful. So therefore, if you're on the rugby field, if you are a sprinter or playing hockey or basketball, don't need to be in the gym lifting those weights. So what do? So like I said, one set, and you need to lift the weight slow and controlled. One rep should take you anywhere between 5 to 10 seconds for the entire rep. So I tell people to take their time in the negative. So that will be 3 to 5 seconds in the negative. And then on the positive side, at least 2 seconds. Don't go to full lockout. When you go to full lockout, then you are taking the pressure or the resistance off the muscle tissue. And then you're putting it back on. So you come up, you lock out, you go down, you lock out. That is letting the muscle tissue off, as is moving fast because you're using momentum to get the weight going and moving. If you go slow, controlled, and methodical, don't go to full lockout, so you've still got tension on the weight, on the muscle, at the top and at the bottom. Breathe really deeply so that you're getting oxygen into your body. And in one set, once you train this for a little, you've got to give it a little while to understand it fully. Yeah, you've actually got to apply yourself to a training system, and your mind will be totally in your muscle when you are moving it slowly. It has to be okay, and you're very, very present. And if you push yourself to failure, okay, you've then created the change in the body, or created the phase of adaptation that you need to bring your body back stronger. Now, if you go training the next day, even if it's a different body part, the body heals systemically. So if you train chest one day, for instance, and then you go and do your back or your legs the next day, your body's still healing from the day before. It doesn't just heal one little bit, it heals everything. So you have to have the rest in between. And ideally, okay, when you are able to push with enough intensity, and it takes a little while to learn it, I'm not going to lie, it does take a while for you to earn your stripes. But then this is for the people that really want to apply themselves and get the best out of it, because anything worth having, you have to try for it. Okay. Anything that comes easy, you ain't going to get the same benefit from that. Just forget it. Not going to happen. Okay. So once you learn how to use that intensity, you will be down to 2 training sessions per week maximum. You can start with 3, but you'll go down to 2. Okay. And then it will be 1 training session every 4 days. If you can get to that standard, most people, we cannot get to that standard. And most of you out there will be happy on 3 training sessions per week. All right. But once you get to, at first you start full body training, and then you break it down into parts, like chest and back, arms and shoulders and legs, because you cannot recover effectively in just 24 hours. Okay. Not really. You can't fully, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. This is physiology, biology. And some people do, yes, some people do repair quicker than others. Some people, it takes longer. Some people, it's quicker. I don't know. Only you know yourself and your body and its capabilities. And don't confuse the high that you get in the gym with being a good thing that you need to attain to. Okay, because that's a drug, that's an adrenaline, dopamine fix. This is why people get runners' highs and things like that. It's there to protect you, or it's there so that when you're pushing yourself and you're damaging your body, you're feeling better. You're feeling good. You feel a high. It doesn't mean to say that that's good for you. Okay. If I drink a lot of alcohol, it feels good for me for a certain amount of time. And then we all know that it's no good for you. So it's probably not the best analogy, but you have to understand. When I train people, they do not like exercise. Okay. They do not like exercise because exercise isn't about fun. It's about pushing your body to a point of adaptation so that you've done your work and then you leave. That's it. Twice a week doing that for 30 minutes is more than doable for most people, because everything that can be trained will be trained by good resistance based exercise. It won't be by things like jogging, rowing, swimming, aerobics, playing basketball, playing rugby, playing football. You cannot train all the trainable factors of exercise with those things. Only resistance based exercise does that. And again, I'll caveat this right at the end so we finish off, because it's getting long, this video. Everything works. Yeah, everything works. Right? If I look, I've got a Swiss ball here. Look, if I take this and I squeeze it between my arms, right? Keep pushing like that. Okay, I can train my pecs. Yeah, that will help my pecs get stronger, better. Yeah, if I do a fly with dumbbells, that helps. If I do a cable fly, that helps. If I pick up 2 pots of paint and lay back and do it, that helps. Everything works. Everything works. But once you've got yourself to the point that you cannot do another one, then doing any more is stupid. So if your son or daughter is training to be an athlete, or they play rugby or football, that's all becoming an athlete. Yeah, anything they do, swimming, etc. If they are doing high volume of weight training as well, they're just overworking. The body's not going to repair properly. They're going to get damaged. And in fact, it's going to send them, it's a negative carryover, just like doing the power training. Kettlebell swings, yeah, I'm included them, and any kettlebell snatch, clean and jerks. Sorry, waste of time. I'm not saying they ain't good, but you don't want to be doing them if you want to build a healthy, strong body. They're fun, they're challenging, yeah. And if you're in kettlebell sports, then that's your sport, so you should do them. But and I like kettlebells, I do. I've got a load outside, and I have to use them when I can't get to the gym. It's simple as that. But I don't do them the way that it's always recommended to do them, because I don't believe in it anymore. And I've done it. I've done the hard style. I've done the strong firsts. I've done all the Pavel stuff. Lots and lots of different kettlebell athletes. Yeah. So just we need to be mindful. And again, if you're a father, if you're a dad, if you're a granddad, we need to show the youngsters, lead by example, take back some of the ridiculous power that these social media gurus have got, who are putting down stuff onto our kids which is absolute junk, and they know it. They all fool you into buying their protein powders, training their way, buying their programs, and they are hiding behind lies. Okay, well, kind of pseudo lies, because everything works, right? So I can say anything, pick up a sandbag, throw it against the wall every single day or every other day for the next year, and you'll get stronger. But it ain't going to do your back any good. It ain't going to do your shoulders any good. And I bet you somewhere along the line, as you get a little bit stronger, you'll pick up something or throw something that's a little bit too heavy, and it just, you're going to have an injury, a proper injury. I can ramble on about so many things. I could sit and talk here for 8 hours, and I'll go off into different tangents. It's up to you lot to pick out the information, right, and go away and research it for yourself, because what I tell you is gold, right? I'm giving you gold, and if anyone can correct me on it, and like everyone tries to correct, but I'm safe in what I'm saying because I've done the research. I can pull up the studies, and I will. And in subsequent videos, I'll pull up the studies and show you. You don't need to do this to get this. Okay. You don't need to do 3 sets when 1 set is just as good. So why would you do it? Why would you do it? If I said to you, right, here's a pressure washer and here's a toothbrush. I want you to clean that van out there in the yard. Yeah? Big old Sprinter van out there, long wheelbase Sprinter van. The toothbrush will get the job done. Yeah? I can clean a van with a toothbrush. But my jet washer is going to get it just as good in a fraction of the time. Ain't going to be no worse. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's better, right? If you say to me, I'll take the toothbrush and spend the next 8 hours cleaning that van, you are a fool, man. You are a bloody fool. You know it. You can be smart in the comments down below, but it ain't going to wash. Yeah? Ain't going to wash. If you could do what you need to do in a fraction of the time, get in, do the work, get out. Like, if you don't believe me, go and look at Dorian Yates. If you don't know who Dorian Yates is, he was my kind of hero when I was a young man. I did actually go and meet him when I was training, doing bodybuilding. I weren't a very good bodybuilder, by the way. I didn't actually compete or anything. I did it because I love playing my sports, and I did training for sport enhancement. And had I known now had I known then what I know now, I would have changed it completely. Anyway, Dorian Yates had a style of high intensity training. He was trained by Mike Mentzer, and which is where a lot of this high intensity training comes from. Um, just go and see what he did and become a multi Olympia champion. And he is still a healthy 60 odd year old male today, training people, giving people advice. He's there doing it. I know the steroids and the training has taken its toll on his body like it would anybody, right? But he's still out there training people. He ain't in a wheelchair, and he's still alive, basically. Um, yes, he did take a lot of steroids. Okay, that aside, he was doing a sport. The sport was bodybuilding. I'm not here to. I won't condemn anybody for doing what they want to do. Just be honest about it. That's it. Just be honest about it, and we're good. But his style of training was, back then, the bodybuilders were in the gym, 4, 5, 6 times per week, and they were training 2, 3, 4 hours per time. And he was in the gym 3 times a week, training for an hour at a time. So you've got to ask yourself, for an ordinary, normal guy who wants to improve himself, play your sport, whatever that is. You can do a bit of plyometrics with that if it's out on the field. Obviously, plyometrics have been proved to be very, very beneficial. If you don't know what plyometrics are, just look them up. But it's basically bounding, sprinting, jumping, bounding. That will improve your athletic ability. Do your sport-based drills. So if you're a soccer player, running with the ball, using the ball. Don't use a different type of ball either. Don't use small ball. Don't use a heavier ball. Use the ball that you're going to play with. Has to be exact. Do your training exactly. And then if you're doing resistance-based training to improve your athletic ability, you only need 2 sessions per week. And during the main season, I would think about dropping that to once every 4 days. That's all you need to do. Off season, you could go up to 2 or 3 days per week, but main season, 1 to 2 times per week. Excuse me. That's all you need to do. Okay. Believe me, you will thank me. I guarantee it, you will thank me for saying, wow, I don't have to go to the gym 4 times a week. Wow. I can't believe that. If you're a guy, right, you've got a family, you've got a job, maybe it's a manual job, you're working on a building site, maybe you're sitting at a desk every day. Both are just as bad. They're both at the wrong ends of the spectrum. Okay. Either one, your injuries occur when you're doing too much too often of something, right? Okay. Your back might go, your shoulder might go. It's because you're doing the same thing day in, day out for a long period of time, right? You ain't going to get out of that unless you really look after yourself or you change your job. Change your job if you can. Get a freaking different job. Don't be stuck in a building trade all your life. It's crazy. You'll be broken. You will. It takes it out of your body. Even your hand, your grip goes. I'm really ranting on. See what I mean? I can talk forever about this stuff. I really can because I've experienced it. I've been there. So going back to the busy dad or mum, um, you should be in that gym. You should be in the gym no more than twice a week. If you have got a physical job, you could get away with 3 times a week if you've got a sedentary job. Now, anything on top of that, swimming, yoga, biking, rowing, hiking, it's all good. Okay. But don't base your fitness regime about that, around that, because it ain't going to do no good for you. Because you can't, nothing trains all the trainable factors, of which there are 6. Nothing trains all trainable factors of the exercise, or the body's systems, your physiology, as resistance based training. So you need to think about that, okay? And let's try together. Give me some help. If you're not sure, ask questions down below. I want you to ask me questions so I can explain things to you. But just if you ask a question, please have the decency to read the question and comment on the answer. If you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to give you the information. Do what you want with it. But if it makes sense, please say so. Don't ask a question if you're not going to be around to answer the question. Okay? That's all I ask. Anyway, give us a like, share, comment, all that kind of stuff, because it helps my channel and it might help get this information out to more people. And if it does, that's a good thing, right? If it saves one person as an athlete, or, you know, a middle-aged guy who's breaking his back at work and then trying to lift weights because he thinks he's got to keep healthy, if it saves you, great. I've done my job. Anyway, guys, you take care. This stuff's important, remember. Take care.